God made a promise to Abraham and Sarah. He said they would have a son. This was a special promise. Abraham and Sarah were very old. It seemed impossible for them to have a child. But God's promises are always true. He is faithful and powerful. Abraham and Sarah had to trust God. They had to believe that He would do what He said. This promise was about more than just a baby. God was making a covenant with Abraham. A covenant is a very strong agreement. God promised to bless Abraham's family. He said that Abraham's descendants would become a great nation. This nation would be a blessing to the whole world. The promise of a son was the starting point of this covenant. It was a sign that God would keep His word. It showed that God's plans were bigger than anyone could imagine. Abraham and Sarah had to wait a long time. God kept His promise. Sarah gave birth to a son. They named him Isaac. Isaac means laughter in Hebrew. This name reminds us of Sarah's reaction when God first told her she would have a son. She laughed because it seemed impossible. But God's power is greater than our doubts. Isaac's birth was a miracle. It was a sign that God is faithful. He does what He says He will do. This event brought great joy to Abraham and Sarah. They had waited many years for this moment. God had answered their prayers in a wonderful way. The birth of Isaac was a cause for celebration. It was a time to remember God's goodness. It was a time to look forward to the future with hope. God had done something amazing. Abraham and Sarah's faith was tested. They had to wait a long time for God's promise to be fulfilled. They faced many challenges along the way, but they never stopped believing in God. They trusted that He would keep His word. Abraham and Sarah's faith was rewarded. God gave them the son He promised. Isaac was a precious gift. He was a sign of God's love and faithfulness. Abraham and Sarah rejoiced in the Lord. They thanked Him for His goodness. They dedicated their son to God. Abraham and Sarah's story teaches us about the importance of faith. We need to trust God even when we don't understand. We need to believe in His promises even when we don't see them yet. The birth of Isaac was a significant event in history. It marked the beginning of God's covenant with Abraham. This covenant continues to this day. It is a promise of blessing for all people. Isaac's birth was a turning point. It was the start of something new and wonderful. God's promise to Abraham was about more than just one family. It was about creating a people for Himself. Through Abraham's descendants, God would bless the whole world. This promise finds its ultimate fulfillment in Jesus Christ. He is the descendant of Abraham who brings salvation to all nations. The story of Isaac's birth reminds us that God keeps His promises. He is faithful to His word. He is able to do more than we can ask or imagine.